My Minecraft world is hiding something. In fact, it's hiding a lot of things. On the surface, it looks like a pristine land full of wonderment and whimsy, but behind the walls, under the earth, and in between the buildings are hidden secrets. I'm gonna call them the Uglies. The shulker monsters, the half-finished projects, the resource gathering sites, and most prominently, the farms. In my world, I try not to let these things show through the cracks, for a good reason. They don't look good. But the thing is, they're kinda needed, especially the farms. Everybody needs a whole bunch of farms in their Minecraft world, but that doesn't mean you actually need to visibly see them. Now I've got a handful of farms that I need built, so I thought it would be prime time to show how I go about covering them up. As for the rest of the Uglies, just sweep them under the rug. It'll be fine. So the first farm that I want to make today is actually under the floor here. Somewhere. There it is. This tunnel has been here since pretty much the start of the world. And it's gonna stay hidden because, well, let's be honest, we can do a little bit better than this. But after a lot of headbanging on the way down, we eventually come to an amethyst geode, which I've semi-excavated. And I needed some of these recently, and it was brought to my attention that this probably isn't the best way to go about getting them. It's fine for the ones at the bottom here, but as soon as I want to reach the ones at the top, it's a bit of a stretch. So first things first, we need to give ourselves just a little bit more room. This is going to take way too long. Yeah, let's go press the magic button. Oh yeah, still not sick of this thing. It's actually incredibly helpful having this beacon system. So with Haste 2, we were able to dig a little bit faster and make a nice big area around all of these amethysts. There we go, that gives us a little bit more room, but we still can't access them at the top. It's just more spacious, that's it. My plan is to basically flood the entire room so we can just swim around and access every single one of these amethysts. Might not be the quickest, but it'll definitely work. The thing I'm struggling with at the moment is I don't know where my staircase back up to the surface is. That'll do. That'll do nicely. Before we flood the room though, it's probably going to be a good idea to try and make it look a bit nicer than what it does right now. Now because this farm is going underground, it doesn't need to look incredible, but because I'm going to be accessing it to use it, I at least like to decorate the walls a little bit. So we've got a nice deep slate gradient going up all four of the sides, and then for the floor and ceiling, a butt ton of frog lights, mainly just to light it up, otherwise it's going to be really dark down here. It's just occurred to me that I haven't actually tested this. Like, I don't know if the water technique is going to work. Can these even be waterlogged? I have no idea. I guess let's just... Yes, they can. I think? Yeah, looks like they can. Whether they actually grow underwater is a different question entirely, but there really is only one way to find out. Well, this is a bit terrifying. My head is only just above the water, and there's no way in or out of here. Very claustrophobic. Luckily, I've got my turtle helmet on, so I should be able to get all of this without drowning. I've only done it on a small segment, not every single crystal, but that actually worked pretty well. Just gotta hope they actually regrow now. Whilst we're waiting to find out, let's make the surface look a little bit nicer up here, instead of this. When it comes to covering up Minecraft farms, in my experience there's three main ways to go about it, and we're gonna get to all three of them today with three different examples. But the first way is to, like we've already done, build the farm underground and then just make a nice entranceway up on the surface. Now this provides no other function than what a simple ladder down to the farm would do, but that's not really the point. The point is to build something cool so every time you want to go to the farm, you get to walk through this thing you've made. Which in this case is what I'm calling a gemstone workshop. Basically somewhere that a specialist would be able to turn these amethysts and probably some other gemstones into bits of jewelry or other little trinkets to sell. So we've got ourselves a forge, maybe this is some kind of polishing tool, a little workbench for him to sit at and carve away at the amethyst. and even a little stand out the back to sell his wares. And not forgetting a bedroom as well. I gotta say, I do quite like this little house, despite it being a bit of an odd colour palette. I'm using netherrack and crimson nylium. I don't think I've ever used those two blocks in a build together, but I actually think it works pretty well. And obviously the most important question is, how do you get down to the farm? Well, through this little archway we have a bubble column as well as a water drop, which simply takes us directly down into our excavated and now flooded geode, which I'm happy to report has regrown the crystals. Not fully, I don't know if it's slowed it down or anything, but they're growing, which is the main thing. One slight issue though, I have now flooded the entire room, so it's turned into a bit of a death trap. Luckily there is something we can do to fix that though. We can craft ourselves one of these. Not an axolotl, one of these things, a conduit. I've got one of these set up in my Atlantis-inspired axolotl pond, which I feel like has lost a lot of the axolotls. There used to be a lot more around here. And even the few that we have are just kind of stuck, motionless. Very weird. Either way, we get conduit power, which basically means we can breathe underwater, dig underwater, and just act as normal down here without any of the side effects. Oh my word, look at them. What's going on? I feel really bad now. Why are you guys so trapped? Can you move? It's kind of creepy. I'm sure they're fine. Yeah, definitely fine. No problems at all over here. Okay, yeah, let's just leave. I feel terrible. One tiny problem. You need nautilus shells to craft one of these, and a heart of the sea, which I have that. I'm just lacking in nautilus shells. Luckily, there's a farm for that. So this monstrosity is a drowned farm, and as you can see from the sheer amount of drowned in front of me, it's not really the quickest thing in the world, but that's fine, it doesn't need to be. When it does decide to work, it functions by drowned spawning in this vast amount of water inside of a river biome, and because the water is flowing downwards, they eventually fall to the bottom and get pushed into a bubble column, then back up to face my blade. They're just a bit few and far between, but like I said, that's fine. I only need nautilus shells really, and not that many of them. Now obviously this thing is getting itself a covering. I'm not leaving it like that, and it's exactly why that it's partially textured and looks a little bit weird at the moment. We are going to greatly improve upon whatever this is by using a lot of the blocks that I've got stored up here in shulker boxes. There's just one singular item that I'm missing though, and that is redstone ore of the deep slate variety specifically, and I'm really excited to actually gather this block in particular. And why that is, you may ask? Well, it's because I get to go mining. At this point in the game, for me personally, I have next to no need to actually go down into the caves because I'm farming just about every other resource you can get down there. But of course, there's no actual way to farm a specific ore block, so I gotta go down there, which I should probably do in the morning. Is there a bed in here? No, of course, I did something. Oh, hello. I forgot I had villagers here. That's fine, I can just place my bed for now. I'm sure they won't mind. It's going pretty well. Nearly got a stack of the stuff and I need about 2 stacks, I think. I'm just having difficulty finding a cave that's low enough down to bedrock level. Luckily, back at the base, I have my strip mine, which is gonna work pretty well because that's basically down at the bottom of the world. And it means I get a strip mine. Also, another pastime I really enjoy and never get to do. It also means I get a bunch of deep slate, which is always helpful. After a little bit of mining, we have done it, as well as grabbing the rest that I need from my deep slate ore box, which I kind of forgot that I had. But there we go, that's all we're going to need for the build, which I guess we can crack on with now. So to make this farm look nice, we're simply wrapping a build around it, which I think works best with the type of farms that kind of have to be massive and there's no real easy way to hide it without just completely encompassing it with another build. I'm trying to keep to a similar sort of shape as what the farm itself is, so a big old cuboid, and make something a little bit more interesting to look at. Which in this case is an alien spacecraft. Now, one of my favourite depictions of a UFO in film and television is the heptapod ship from Arrival. The only thing with that is it's literally just a big pebble, and that's kind of hard to make look good in Minecraft. So I figured I'd take some more inspiration elsewhere from Denis Villeneuve and look at some spacecrafts from Dune. Some from the actual films and some concept art. And in the end, I've made a bit of an amalgamation of the two. It's still got that imposing nature like the ship in Arrival has, just hovering there, but with a bit more detail like a lot of the ships from Dune. One slight problem, the farm kind of sucks. I've been AFK for over an hour and I've only managed to get 4 Nautilus shells, so we're only just halfway there. Originally with this ship, I did also have a plume of smoke coming out of the engines at the bottom, but it took away from the impressiveness of it a bit and kind of made it look like a bog standard, boring old human rocket. So instead, I'm going to pretend that it uses some kind of advanced alien tech, maybe something a bit like antimatter propulsion. That's what this cone at the top could be, a way to collect the antimatter, which the ship uses as a fuel source. Then when it's just floating there, perhaps there's some form of alien-made gravity keeping it in place. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a load of rubbish for me to justify not having to place a million glass blocks floating awkwardly mid-air. No, it's science and spaceships and stuff. I do also really like the entranceway to the farm. I feel like this bright white contrasts really nice with the outside look of the ship. Unfortunately, there's nothing else inside, it's just this, but I imagine the rest of the ship is this pristine white color. Oh, one other sci-fi science film related thing. Sorry, this is the last, I promise. If I could just get up there. Nope. Let me try that again. Whoop. Nailed it. Under these 4 engines on the corners of the build, we got a bunch of skulk, and I thought this kind of looked a little bit like astrophage. If any of you have read Project Hail Mary or watched the film, it's a little bit reminiscent of that, so maybe that's how the ship is powered. Oh boy, another hour has passed by and we've still only got 7. But that's fine because we've got the one back at the base, which is enough to make another conduit. Nope, still 7. Before we do that little bit of crafting, I do just want to let you all know that there is an updated world download as of this episode for all of my YouTube members to check out, so if you'd like to get in on that, you can just click the join button down below for some more information. As always, thank you guys for the support. It is really, really appreciated. There we go. Was that worth it? Probably not, but at least we got a cool looking build now. Well, this is a lot quicker. Don't have to worry about drowning, my pickaxe works faster. I do just have to make sure I don't accidentally break one of these blocks, otherwise that'll be bad. Collection is easy too, because they all just float to the top. Very convenient. Unfortunately, this room is made with even numbers, so I couldn't put the conduit right in the center here, and I thought you needed this kind of formation that I've got here, where it's the prismarine, but I broke these blocks at the top and it still works fine, so I guess I maybe actually could have just had it in the room with the amethyst, but nah, it's fine there. Looks kind of cool through the little window anyway. With that, we now have the finished drowned farm as well as the amethyst farm over here, which I guess means we can move on to the 3rd and final farm of today's episode. And I don't have quite as good of a segue for this farm like I did with the previous 2, so we're in the nether now. And for some reason, there's a bunny in here. Yeah, I don't know either. There you go, buddy. I've gone ahead and dug out a pretty big hole here inside of the nether wall, which is where the farm's going to be going. And that farm is going to be a Piglin bartering system. It's a farm that I've needed for an incredibly long time. There are so many resources you get from Piglin bartering that I always need and never seem to have, and I don't know why it's taken me this long to make this specific farm. There is a pretty good chance some of you may recognize this thing if you managed to catch my most recent live stream. I've been trying to do that a little bit more recently. Well, I've got 2 under my belt so far, but it's better than none. But it was a lot of fun. We actually totally designed this thing during that 3-hour live stream. Yes, it took me 3 hours to design something that probably shouldn't have taken that long, but here we are. I think the only thing I've done separately is the rail system for turning on and off a hopper clock. I could have just simply ran this rail as a redstone wire, but because I wanted the whole build to be symmetrical, instead a cart goes up to this detector rail, triggering a copper bulb which turns on the etho hopper clock here. So totally unnecessary, but it makes it look perfectly symmetrical from the front, which pleases me. Other than that bit over there, of course, but don't worry, it's getting covered up. I'm beginning to think an open door like this might not be the best of ideas. There's a soul sand valley right outside the entrance, as you can see from the skeletons and the gas, which gives them easy access to shoot directly into the storage system. And most of this is pretty explodable, so yeah, that needs a cover. There we go. That'll do. Ah, okay, that's nice here. Feels actually safe in here. I had a lot of gas spawning and shooting my redstone. It was very annoying, so it's nice to be secure. But what I've done here is basically the other way that I like to cover up my farms to make them look nice, by still having the farm or elements of it out on display, like with the gaps for the piglins we're going to have up there, along with the minecart track you can see at the top, and obviously the 2 minecarts to 1, load up the farm with gold, and 2, trigger the hopper clock. And then if we just go behind the wall, you can still see all the gubbins back here, the ugly parts nicely hid away. But up here we've basically just slapped a facade right on the front of it, and made a nice room around it as well. But that's the next thing we need to do. Get the piglins in, because until we do that, this farm has absolutely no purpose. Now I'm hoping this won't be too bad if I just break this block, the dropper, and then the hopper with the rail. Makes a bit of a mess for now, but that's fine. And then I need a way to get the piglin to fall in, so we need to break this block and this block so I can stand up here. And then I'll need another trapdoor to actually get them to fall in. And I think that should work. We've also got a little pathway around here that leads off eventually through this soul sand valley, and you can just see it in the distance, a crimson valley. Don't need you guys, I need you guys. Alrighty, let's give this a test. Preferably we want one with a sword. They're just going to be a little bit easier to actually move around. So if you just keep coming this way, buddy. It's suddenly occurring to me I didn't bring name tags, so I'm really going to hope he can pick up an item. But I guess we can just do this. Oh, no, I lost him. Oh, and I'm burning. A bit of a test run to make sure it all works, the system that we've got. Okay, can you be smart enough to make it up onto this path? Yep, you can. Good job. Oh, you are right there. Yeah, nope. Nope. Okay, well that went terribly. You still here? Oh, there you are. That's actually perfect. Okay, let's try that again. Huh. Okay, I made the jump. And then... okay, went terribly again. For attempt number 2, I tried a bit of a different drop trap system, and this time it worked great. The piglin fell right into place nice and easily. I now just need to do it 7 more times for the other 7 piglins. Ah, look at these guys up there with their little swords poking out. Actually kind of cute. I feel a little bit bad for enslaving them. There is just one more thing we need to do before giving this farm a test. I've gone ahead and added in all of our filter items with the exception of these two chests. This one is just going to be for the non-stackables of stuff I don't really need. This one is for dried gas, which I have none of. So nearly a year after they've been added to this game, I'm going to go see if I can find one. And I know, I could just Piglin barter until I get one and put it in the system, but this seems a little bit more fun. I'm pretty sure they're meant to be in Soulsand Valleys, right? By the fossils. I was flying over and I don't see any next to those guys, so I may not be in far enough away chunks. Never mind. Here's one little guy. Thank you very much. I'll nab another two since I need one to put in the item frame. They're actually really cute. They would probably make a good decoration. And a good pet, but I'm less inclined to do that. I heard they can get pretty big. Okay, let's get these guys out in the system. One in there, and one down there. Oh, you span around. There you go, that's better. I suppose the last thing to do is to test these guys out. Feed these Williams, which is their name by the way. These are William 3. Do not ask what happened to William 1 and 2. You do not want to know. Okay, got some gold, 8 stacks to be specific. I think that'll be a good test to begin with. That gives each of the piglins an entire stack of gold to sort through. So we fire this one on its way and it's going to go and load up all the droppers, which we just need to let run a little bit before we start the farm. Okay, here it comes. Just want to see if I can... Alright, 1 stack is in. That's probably good enough. So then to start the farm, we fire this minecart on its way. It goes up along the rail, eventually over the detector rail, which turns on the redstone hopper clock. And yes, that is totally unnecessary. A lever would have done the same trick. But symmetry. And then, as you can see up there, the piglins start getting their gold, and it's pretty much an instant turnaround. As soon as they drop their items, they get a new ingot. So on and so forth until eventually we run out of gold. It is a pretty satisfying farm to watch, I gotta say. I think that's why I like having it out in the open here, so we can see all the different moving parts, and even from the back it looks pretty good. I'm thinking at some point I might stick a couple of extra farms in this room alongside the Piglin bartering system, like a basalt generator and something else I could fit in here, just so I'm maximizing on AFK time, because I try not to do it too much. But after those 8 stacks of gold, we have got a pretty decent supply of most of the stuff. A couple of the things that are a bit rare, like obsidian or dried gas, are still empty because they need to fill up the hopper first of all, but basically everything is working, which is the main thing. It just depends on how much gold I put in. I've only just noticed, look at the pattern on this basalt. That doesn't seem natural. Look at the line, it wiggles. It's really weird. That doesn't seem like you should be able to see that in Minecraft. I like it though. But anyway, that is the third and final farm of today's episode all done. I hope this has been somewhat insightful as to how I build and decorate my farms to make them look a little bit more interesting. I would say overall it definitely adds to your world in some way. But thank you ever so much for watching everybody. I really hope you did enjoy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.